Welcome back to the Dare to Dream podcast. This is episode 26. My name is Gregory Russell Benedict.
And I am Vincent Van Patten, and this is a podcast for people who know they're destined for something big.
So I think where we want to take it today is a topic that was brought to my attention by one of my dear friends. And I think it's a place where many of us have found ourselves this past year. Maybe we're still currently there. And it's essentially this place of being somewhere, but not really knowing where you are. Being ungrounded, so to speak, or as our good friend Jordan Peterson would put it, being in the fog.
Yes.
You might not know where you currently are. You're lost, and whether it's you're in a job that you don't know if you want to stay with, you don't see the future of that, you're in a relationship and you don't really know where it's going, or you're in neither of those and you're just trying to figure out what's next. It's often tough to ground yourself. And so I think where we're going to explore today first is kind of what to do when you're in this space of not knowing. And then we can explore some strategies on how to actually ground yourself and how to move forward from there.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a place that, this last year, if we thought we had any kind of semblance of control of our lives before, it was just completely taken from us. And for me personally, this has kind of been used as a catalyst to make me consider if I don't really know where I am and I don't know if I'm where I want to be, moving forward, just in a career that I don't really see myself with the future in. Kind of what steps do I take to move forward? And if I'm going to do it, if I'm going to do anything, this is probably the time to do it. So, yeah, man, it's a place that, I don't know if there's probably a few people who feel like they really are grounded and they know exactly what they're doing and they know where they are and what steps they want to take to kind of become the person that they want to be. But I think you have to just take stock of, first of all, where are you? You got to figure out, all right, so what am I doing in my day-to-day life? Is it kind of moving me forward towards the life that I kind of want? And am I excited to get up every day and do this thing and live? And I think it, kind of separating just life in general and a career, because it's often that we just kind of associate the two. Our career is everything. So I think that's kind of two avenues we can embark on in this episode, just discussing is it being in the fog of am I the type of person I want to be, or is it the kind of career that I want to be in?
I think that's a great place to start. I think we should start in the career side of it. And Jordan Peterson talks about this, but a lot of us, I think, are unwilling to take a good look at our career because we're scared of what we might find. It's much easier to just think, oh, it'll get better or things will work themselves out in a couple years. And we're afraid to actually take that cold, hard look into the fog to see where we're at because we're hoping that where we're at is not as bad as we think it might be.
Right.
It's kind of like after a big weekend out with friends, you're afraid to check your bank account. And you're just worried of actually seeing, oh, geez, how much did I spend at dinner?
Yeah.
That kind of a thing. And so I guess step one would be, career-wise especially, is this career something that you see yourself doing in 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
And if not, what are skills in this current career that you can work on and you can leverage for something else? And then if there's none of those, then that's kind of it. What are you staying for, if not the security and the safety?
100%. Do you think, with your own experience, did you see any kind of crossover between you were in finance before? Did you see yourselves bringing those skills into what you ultimately wanted to do?
That's a great question. So even in the jobs, even in my first job when I was in internal audit, I did learn a lot of skills that were helpful. You learn the interpersonal skills, the soft skills of, okay, how do I schedule a meeting with someone? How do I send a clear, concise email and communicate effectively? And I think those skills transfer. So there's always a silver lining no matter what you're doing. There's always little pieces you can pull from your job that are going to help you become a more well-rounded human and progress.
Mm-hmm.
But to answer your question specifically, sometimes you just need a change.
Yeah.
And you just need to do something completely different. And part of me wanted to bring some of my skills, like my analytical skills. I definitely use those in the role I'm in currently.
Mm-hmm.
But the other half of me wants to distance myself as much as I possibly can from finance and that industry and kind of the corporate world in general.
Mm-hmm. So our friend, she asks, like, how do you like if you feel like you're kind of in this fog, like I don't say you, like, I just want to completely abandon ship, burn the ship, and I don't even think like any of these skills are going to transfer over to whatever it is next that I want to do. And what if, I mean, for most of us, it's probably you don't even know what that next step is.
Yeah.
So how do we like ground ourselves? That's what she's asking. How do you kind of ground yourself to even take that first step?
How do you face that uncertainty of not knowing what's next and decide whether you actually take a huge step and make this big life decision, or just kind of keep staying in the status quo and just, there's always going to be another reason to stay at your job. I was talking with her about this. There's something coming up in a couple months has to do with how long she's been at the company.
Mm-hmm.
And then like a couple months after that, it's a big company-wide event where there's like another reason to stay. And it's just, there's always going to be another reason. And economically, it's never going to make sense to make a big shift.
Right.
And so what do you do?
So first thing, just for grounding yourself, it's, I think, just taking a look at what you're doing in your day-to-day life. Like if you wake up and you're unhappy, it's like, okay, I don't want to be doing this with my life. What's worse than that? What's worse than being young and you have the opportunity to make a change, but feeling like you're stuck and you have to stay with this thing? Like, if something, that's just ask yourself, like, maybe I don't know exactly what I want to do next, but am I kind of separate the two? Like, maybe I am learning something from this and there is some value to be taken from it, from sticking with it. But if I know like it's not what I want to be doing and I am just unhappy every day and I feel drained of energy just waking up and getting after this thing, maybe that's a time to just we talk about it all the time, but take serious time to think deeply about it. And Jordan Peterson, he has this whole course, I haven't taken it, but just like going through your past and kind of understanding of where you've come from to get a better understanding of where you want to go. And so that's just realizing like what your skills might be and what you might want to do and take that next step. So I think just to ground yourself and feel like you're not just trying to keep your head above water. Like that's how I felt first few years after college. Like I just had no idea what the hell I wanted to do. And I was like, okay, I might keep doing like these business jobs, but clearly this is just not me. Like I'm not connecting to it at all. I feel like I'm kind of faking it, and it's painful. Like felt like I was just making myself sick, and I was like, it's crazy, man. Like I haven't been sick in like a year and a half, like since doing this, and I've just great energy. Basically, I feel like I'm at peak health. Besides, of course. But
and you used to always get sick. Like you would always
pretty often, yeah.
You would always have a cold.
I was always at about 70%.
You'd always have Vinny's elixir of the week.
Yeah,
like some mixture of apple cider vinegar and honey and.
Oh yeah, we trace that back to this ancient roots, but family roots. But it's like it just felt like a burden was lifted that I could finally step into. I didn't know what it was yet, but I could at least take that step into my destiny, to my next phase of life.
And I want to point out one thing I remember you said in a past episode was when you were working in real estate and you knew in your heart it wasn't what you wanted to do, but maybe your mind hadn't accepted that yet, is you were afraid of the 5-year goal and afraid of thinking about the future because you were afraid to look closely and be like, this isn't it.
Yeah, definitely. It was it's just like feels like just a different person. And I was telling you this earlier, it's like I'm still, of course, like in that fog. Like every day I'm like, okay, is this because I'm not making a ton of money by any means. Like it's like every month I'm making just enough to live, and just from different kind of sources and just from the luck of the draw. But I'm like just happy doing it, and like I mean it's hard a lot. Like it's very hard just kind of figuring it out as I go, but it is a joyful adventure of like discovery and just feeling like I'm embarking on a quest to figure out like what I'm truly meant to do. And it's like, so basically to ground yourself, just ask like what in my past has maybe just brought me any sense of just happiness, and like you just felt like your most authentic, sincere self, like doing this kind of thing. And I think we just have to get out of this mindset of like, I have to do this thing to make money. Like you'll figure out a way to make money when you are like giving your entirety of yourself to this thing, as opposed to making your career, which is, or just, it's a big part of your life. Like that's what we're like focusing on primarily in this young stage of our lives. And we should be considering like what would actually bring us some joy and what has made me happy in the past, and let go of the notion of, I have to do this because it's acceptable and, it's like what my parents think it's the right thing to do. Let go of all that and think about like what would actually make me happy doing. Like I've considered like I'd be happy like gardening right now. It's like, okay, should I get into landscaping like just to make some money? Like I think that'd be very happy and like learn.
Dude, I absolutely love the list of ideas you've
I'm
come
going
up
on
with.
a bit of a tangent.
The ideas you've come up with to work while you write are working in a restaurant, babysitting, being an elementary school teacher, landscaper, working at Chipotle. There's a couple other ones I'm missing, but they
Proofreading,
make me so happy.
Editing. It's like
you're just thinking. The options are endless.
Right. And it's like I keep getting like little nudge that keeps me going. But yeah, it's like what would I actually enjoy doing? I enjoy being outside in the sun right now, like working with my hands. Like my kind of dream is to like go work on a Japanese farm for a couple of years.
Yeah.
That would be epic. And like write and just learn. I think this period of our lives is we need to focus on learning as opposed to like making money. We've talked about it in the past, probably a lot, but like we're supposed to be developing our character, growing into the type of person that we want to be, as opposed to striving for success. Like that's not going to come for a while.
Dude, this ties in perfectly to, I watched a TED Talk this morning. David Epstein was talking about the difference between specializing really early on and being someone who samples a little bit from everything. And as a society, we praise this success story of specialization and the 10,000 hour rule. And he talks about Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods had a golf club in his hand when he was like 2 months old. By the time he was 7, he was playing golf every day, all this stuff, and became the best golfer in the world. And his life completely fell apart. Like he was coming unhinged at the seams because his whole life had been dedicated to something. And obviously I don't know him. I don't know how passionate he was about golf. But when you focus that much on something and when there's so much external pressure, like his dad was pretty abusive to him about golf.
Very.
You can just come apart because you only have that and you're so focused on that, and it's always been that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was also talking about this other, showed a picture of a kid and no one knew who he was yet. And talking about how all of the different sports he tried and everything, like he tried and failed and did all of these things. And it ended up being Roger Federer, like equally as famous and amazing at his craft.
And he just is like just the most chill guy who loves life more than anything. Got a sweet house in Switzerland.
Exactly. And he went on to talk about how the great musicians actually, like Yo-Yo Ma, actually tried multiple other instruments before settling on the violin.
Wow.
And basically, we need to sample all of the different entrees that life has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
We can't just, be assigned something or pick the first thing that comes. And then he even talked about it in terms of like income and career success.
Mm-hmm.
There's a long study done between people who went to a four-year university where you specialize in something from the beginning, kind of like Cal Poly, or people who are allowed to explore a lot of different things throughout their time at university. And of course, the people who specialized, they were the ones who got the jobs first and started making higher money right away because they were very specific. They were filling, that niche. But what the study showed is that over time, it was within 7 years, the group that was able to sample everything ended up passing the specialists in income. And they were also the ones that remained persistent and resilient throughout their career. Right. And were actually happy, whereas the specialists usually burned out as an accountant or something and then ended up, the wheels kind of fell off, and they didn't really know where to go next.
Yeah, it's like, when you put all our eggs into one basket, after that, you don't know where to go next. And, there's definitely like value in, if you figure out what you like, go for it and really give it your all. But if you don't, then I think it's just worth it to give yourself at least the opportunity to, especially right now, it's a very unique time, to use this to our advantage. It's like the rules are being reset as we speak, and you gotta make your own rules. So there's pressure by society to conform and do what others are doing, and especially when we're seeing what success looks like on social media, what have you. But use this time to really think deeply about what might interest you and what might light you up and where you might want to go next, because we're going to come out of this thing and it's either going to go back to how it was, or you used it as an opportunity to do something completely new.
Yeah, and I felt like maybe I came across in that last rant as saying like don't specialize in anything, but specialize in things for short periods of time, like wholeheartedly pursue one thing. Another thing that Jordan Peterson says is focus on one thing and see what happens when you do that, and just try it, like do that until it no longer works for you or it no longer fits in your life. And maybe you get really, really good at that one skill and you can put that in your tool belt, and now you go try something else and you get really good at that and put it in your tool belt. We have endless opportunities to explore and do all these things, and yet it's so easy to feel trapped in this like small box. And even us, it happens to me all the time. I'm 100%. Like, I have to do this. This is my destiny. Like, this is exactly where I am. And I forget the fact that I felt that way like 8 months ago when I was at my last job, and then I blew everything up and 100%. Went into the unknown and discovered this, and now I'm here. And I'm still in that. I'm still absolutely loving it. There are super hard days for sure, but we just have so much choice.
100%. What brings me the most joy too in this process is like just the learning. Like I've just realized how much I love learning, and if I could, like, where am I going with that? It's no matter what I end up doing, like if I'm just constantly learning, I feel like I will be happy. And that's why I want to kind of get out there and just see what life entails, because it's just so exciting to like be actually developing skills and to actually see yourself moving forward in something, even when it doesn't make money, is like extremely fulfilling. And when it's something that you actually enjoy, like nothing else matters anymore. It's like, okay, I found something that I truly love and I see myself moving forward in it. I don't care about the money. It's like there's so much other things to worry about, and when you start focusing on other things besides just making money, it's like the money will come. And yeah, it's just that's kind of the end of that.
There's nothing more valuable than seeing yourself progress towards something, regardless of what it is.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more demoralizing than feeling stuck and just doing something you hate because this is the way it is and you're just going through the motions. I cannot emphasize that enough. 100%. It is so liberating. Like this week for me was super tough, very challenging. I had one of those weeks where it started off good. I got to the middle of the week. I had too much on my plate. I was stretching too far. The wheels came off. And yesterday I felt incompetent. I felt like I couldn't handle anything. Got very close to crying on multiple occasions. But it's like, that's the enjoyable pain of growth. Like, that is what being alive and being a human being is about.
Yeah.
It's about having these ecstatic highs where you're on top of the world, and then having these other days where nothing works and you just feel like an absolute piece of garbage.
It's crazy, man. Like, it is, I could not agree more with that. Like, and every week it's like just a roller coaster. And I was telling you about this earlier. Just we are constantly, like, human beings. We're navigators. We're explorers. We are on a ship that is set and sail for the horizon, and there's gonna be many a choppy day out on the sea. But you gotta. It's like the only option is to keep moving forward, and it might feel like you're stuck. And this is kind of where I wanted to take the next point. It's easy to feel like you're stuck. Obviously, it's like, okay, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and I felt like that this week too. And on Monday,
our cycles always are syncing up.
Always, and like the weather. So I was just like, okay, I need to just separate from like the noise, and I just need to take a break. Cause like I worked over the weekend, like both days, just 7 days straight, just on like personal stuff and like school and stuff that was moving me forward, and I was just overwhelmed with everything. And did a no technology Monday, and it was just liberating.
Yeah, how was that?
Liberating. So yeah, first of all, I'm like, okay, I want to like go somewhere I've never been. So this brings up another point. Like, it was a Monday, so a lot of people can't do that on a Monday. I'm very fortunate that I'm kind of just making my own schedule at this point. But do it on a Sunday if you can, or a Saturday. Like, go somewhere.
Saturday night, remember? Saturday
night is the night you don't hang out with people and you try solo experiments.
I had someone tell me that they think I actually meant Saturday night, and then I was just too embarrassed to admit it. It's some sort of like slip, Freudian slip.
But so it's like, go somewhere new, get into a new environment, just to like feel like you're getting outside of the box. Like, I totally needed this. Feel like you're getting outside your normal domain. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna like get in the car and go. Left the phone at home, no computer for the day, and just went into the hills. Just drove like along the coast, just went like south in San Diego, found like a beach that I'd never been to before, and just like brought a journal and a book. And
beautiful.
You know, if you're not, it's easy for me to say like, if you don't write, then do whatever. But like, it can't hurt to like just start journaling. Like, no matter what you're into or what you like journaling is just such a good way to just unload whatever thoughts are just weighing you down. You definitely don't know it, but like, once you just start writing and give yourself the opportunity, it is a great just release. So I brought the journal and just went to this beach that I found and just let it all pour out for the whole day, and it was amazing. And it's just like, for the rest of the day, no phone, no computer, just had dinner in silence, and just like really just thought all day. And for the rest of the week, just felt great. So if you feel like you're kind of stuck, try getting into a new environment. Try getting away from social media, and just get out of your normal routine. And even if you during a weekday and like after work, just try leaving your phone at home and going somewhere new.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I'm picturing you in a loincloth, just like on the beach with a spear, just like by yourself.
It was a very crowded beach where I was spearing fish in a loincloth.
Eating them raw with your hands.
Oh, it's a good time. Do it again.
On a somewhat unrelated note to that, I just wanted to talk about what I do when I'm feeling ungrounded. Kind of my ritual to reground and emerge from that dark place that I sometimes enter. And for me, it's really just...
big bowl of ice cream and a lot of tears.
Exactly. Pint of Ben & Jerry's and How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. It's really just getting back to basics for me. It's waking up without an alarm clock, doing my morning routine, meditating, writing down things I'm grateful for, reading, and just really getting back to the basics. And then, like you said, it's no technology, leave the phone at home, go on a long walk, go to the beach,
Mm-hmm.
and just do a couple of the activities that really make me happy. Those fun activities that I don't normally do, like skateboarding, or I'll go surf by myself, and just really unplug. And I think the best way to ground yourself is to do something that you love.
Yeah.
Do one of those activities, something that brings you a lot of joy, but that's also really simple.
Yep.
And I felt incredibly grounded after our weekend we had together. We had one of our best friends come down from LA, and we had the most simple Saturday I've had in a while. Literally
terrific.
just cooked food, good conversation, and like exercise.
Just
and moved.
laid in the sun, yeah.
Laid in the sun, went on a walk.
It is nourishing, and it just makes you realize like how simple life can be, and that I'm just realizing more and more like that's just where I want to go. It's just to simplify.
Yeah, when you have those kind of days and they're so good, you realize you don't need that much more.
Watched Harry Potter, the first one.
So good. So good.
Well, I think that's going to do it for episode 26. So, hopefully this helps you feel a little more grounded and gives you an idea or two of, how to take those steps and how to start thinking deeply about if you're in the position that you want to be in and what next kind of steps to take and how to unplug and make it happen, because it is your future, and we all feel like we're in this fog, and it happens to all of us, that's for sure. So, but there, simplify, and there is always hope.
And if you're in the fog, don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
We've all been there. I'm there many days. Just accept it. Be willing to take a good hard look at your life and figure out where to go next.
Yeah.
Ground yourself.
Alrighty, love you all.
Love you guys.